Prison overcrowding is a social phenomenon occurring when the demand for space in prisons in a jurisdiction exceeds the capacity for prisoners. The issues associated with prison overcrowding are not new, but have been brewing for many years. During the United States' war on drugs, the states were left responsible for solving the prison overcrowding issue with a limited amount of money. Moreover, federal prison populations may increase if states adhere to federal policies, such as mandatory minimum sentences. On the other hand, the Justice Department provides billions of dollars a year for state and local law enforcement to ensure they follow the policies set forth by the federal government concerning U.S. prisons. Prison overcrowding has affected some states more than others, but overall, the risks of overcrowding are substantial and there are solutions to this problem. The prison system started in Europe in the 16th century. The main focus for imprisonment at this time was for temporary holding before trials. Despite the crime committed, all assumed criminals were confined in cells with one another, even children. There were many deaths within the prison system in the 16th century due to lack of prisoner care and mass spread of sickness. It was the 17th century when the Bridewell was created and had a main focus on inmate training and education. All within this time, the prisons introduced staffing to create a steadier system. As the 18th century approached, prisoners were forced into hard and manual labor that lasted from morning to dawn. English philosopher Jeremy Bentham introduced a utilitarianism theory to help create more of a moral standard for the treatment and rehabilitation of inmates. His idea was to bring the understanding that inmates were rehabilitable. He wanted to introduce ethical thinking and proper decision-making into the inmates' lives in hopes they could rejoin society. As the Great Depression hit, the crime rates increased due to individuals having to commit crimes for survival. Although there were still rising numbers of incarcerations from 1929 to 1970, the prison population increased dramatically when Nixon's war on drugs called for mandatory sentencing. Around the time Nixon's act was introduced, another act was put in place allowing an individual to have 2 convictions with a serious felony, then placed in prison for life. Within the 3-strike law, there was a 500% increase of incarcerations from 1970 to 1999. It was estimated in 2018 that there were a total of 2.3 million inmates incarcerated. Around 1.3 million of those inmates were incarcerated within the state prison systems. The prison population is half that of China, while China's population is 4 times that of the United States, indicating the United States' incarceration rate is twice that of China. Although the United States holds a large number of inmates, it is only at 103.9% of prison capacity. Comparatively, Haiti is the most overcrowded at 454.4%. Colorado is one of the many states dealing with the prison overcrowding issue. According to the Colorado Division of Criminal Justice, a possible solution for what would it take to reduce overcrowding in Colorado prisons? Is the implementation of technological systems. Technological systems involve the use of electronic monitoring bracelets. Although offenders are being released, most have not received proper rehabilitation tactics to keep them from committing another crime. This often leads recurring offenders back into the prison system. There has been an increase in waitlists or lack of specialized programs that allow inmates to have the proper rehabilitation. Some crimes are just simply not given the option for parole, which holds inmates in the system for an extended time or even life. The rise of overcrowding has resulted in many issues such as prison overcrowding could create a range of consequences that have become prevalent in the world today. First, prison overcrowding could affect resources per prisoner. The more inmates that are admitted, the fewer resources there are to distribute. Due to the lack of resources, inmates may be forced to spend large amounts of time doing nothing rather than becoming engaged in an activity. The amount of resources continues to reduce as more prisoners are admitted, and social support services become more limited. With a small amount of space and resources within the prisons, prisoners progress more slowly through the steps to release, and their numbers accumulate more quickly. The combination of those two factors could lead to the prison system slowing down. And prisoners' progress would also begin to move slowly. If the prisoners' progress is slowed, then their exit is slowed as well. This will heavily increase overcrowding and results in a facility reaching maximum capacity at a faster rate. Prison overcrowding comes with an opportunity cost. The amount of money spent on mass incarceration annually could be